All right, I am here with a very special guest today. I'm here with Chuck MacDonald, Head of Media and Communications at Onessus. Now, Onessus is the first place winner of the DAPP Network Hackathon. Chuck's gonna walk through what their project was, what they're trying to do. He's gonna talk a little bit about his background, the upcoming game that Onessus has called Hodl God, as well as a little bit of the backstory of how this hackathon project came together, how they started working on DAPP Network, and also how they plan to integrate it into their future products moving forward. What's up, Chuck?
Hey.
Happy to have you here.
Happy to be here.
So I'm gonna just make the assumption that not everyone watching saw your amazing pitch at the DAPP Network Hackathon. The pitch that won you guys $15,000 in cold hard cash, 500,000 DAPP tokens, and the honor of saying that you were selected by the legendary Brock Pierce, Greg Lee, VP of Operations at Block.One, Crystal Rose, and the CEO of Liquid Apps, Benny Hakak. So you guys are kind of living on hallowed ground here still. Are you kind of riding the high still from that?
We're over the moon. Yeah. Yeah, this is great.
So over the moon that I know you guys are pushing towards a product release for your product Hodl Gods, but you're also, I saw in the Liquid Apps channel and in the DAPP Network dev channel and the EOSIO dev channel, you guys are looking for some talent too. So why don't we plug that before we even get into this? Because developers. I'm gonna throw the graphic up on the screen for everyone watching and everyone listening. I will read a message from Telegram from Dante Scott, the CEO of Onessus. It says, any devs or teams looking for work, Onessus, the DAPP Hackathon champions, are hiring a developer for a new project we're launching. This job will require a dev to have experience with the DAPP network, deploying EOSIO sister chains, building EOSIO contracts, and blockchain building experience. So if you think you fit those requirements, how could they get a hold of you guys, Chuck?
Well, probably the best way is on our Telegram channel, t.me/Onessus. That's ONESSUS. Also our Twitter, which is Onessus Block, at Onessus Block.
All right, so I think we'll get into Onessus, but first we'll get into the hackathon stuff, because there's two separate buckets here. There's Onessus, the company, which is a game development company. And then we have the hackathon project, which kind of ties into Onessus and your long-term roadmap. But for the hackathon, you had a product called Global Economic ESports Community and LiquidEscrow. I think the other interesting thing before we get into this is for the DAPP Network Hackathon, we had 3 challenges, and any team could have chosen any one of those challenges. The first theme was DeFi, if they could build a decentralized finance app. The second theme was gaming, so if they could build a gaming app. And then the third challenge was building a brand new DSP service that could operate on the DAPP network. And I think one of the reasons you guys won was because you actually tackled all 3 of them with your project. And I thought that was really cool. But I'm gonna stop talking about your project because you obviously did the best job at pitching it. So why don't we walk through the repitch, and I'm not gonna hold you to a 3-minute timer this time.
Oh, thank God. Yeah, well, it's called, the DAPP that we've created is called the GEEC, GEEC. So it's the Global Economic ESports Community. And it's basically there to solve a couple of big problems right now in esports. I know a lot of people aren't even aware of what esports are, but a lot of people are. And it's becoming huge. It's absolutely massive. There's about 450 million people on YouTube who watch esports. My kid is one of them, and I just don't get it. Like, you're just watching other people play video games, right? And you're watching these really, really good gamers play, right? But you don't really participate in it other than watching it, you know? So what we wanted to do was bring esports down to everybody and create a system where we're going to eliminate the scamming that goes on right now in sort of recreational esports or peer-to-peer esports, you could say. Right now, there's a huge black market in people gambling with one another on the results of their games. So, you know, they'll get into a Call of Duty arena or CS:GO or something, and they'll play against each other, and they'll bet or whatever, and the winner, the winner might be a cheater. The loser might not pay up. There are any number of ways to get scammed in this system. So we created something that allows. We're going to use Discord. We're using Discord to bring people into a channel together, a chat channel, and then they're going to sign a contract with Scatter. So they're going to be pooled together in groups and put into a channel, and then our DAPP is going to create a game for them. So they're all going to get into that game. It's going to populate. They hit another Scatter button to start the game, and then they play their game against each other, right? So it could be any number of people. You could have 100 people in an arena if the game will support it, and our DAPP will be able to support all those people. So,
sorry, since this isn't the live pitch, I could actually jump in and I want to add some insight for the audience. So, Discord's already pretty much the go-to chat app for gamers currently. So you're just tapping into that market. There's already hundreds of millions of people using Discord to do this kind of stuff, but just in a more trusted way. And you guys wanted to make it trustless, essentially.
Oh, exactly. And they're already on Discord. That's the thing. Like, all these guys and girls and kids are using Discord already to do all their chatting with each other, right? It would be so easy for us to put a layer underneath Discord that will bring them together in a trusted way, so that they can earn crypto. So what we're doing then is when a game is finished, really there shouldn't be any disputes. You either win or you don't win, right? So once the game is finished, all the players and a referee in there to watch everything happen, all the players put in the results of the game. So they all agree on it, and really most of the time there should be consensus on that. So there should be unanimous consensus, and it should say, yes, this guy won. So in that case, everybody agrees on it, the ref agrees on it, and our system is going to pay them out in crypto right away, pay the winner out. Or it could be first, second, third, whatever the structure is. But the winner is going to get paid out in crypto, and everybody's going to get ranked also in how well they played, right? So we're going to be able to, with more and more games that occur, we're going to be able to create actual leagues and rankings for all these people. It's going to be completely decentralized. It'll be around the world, but it'll be on the blockchain. So you're going to see every game that you won and you lost, and you're going to see all of your ratios against other players, and it'll start to it'll concentrate the good players in one league, the medium players in another. It'll start to concentrate people in their appropriate league, so they won't get thrown in a game against somebody who's going to destroy them. So with when you have a system that opens it up for all these other amateur esports players, like your typical gamer, we're going to be able to bring people into a system where they're going to have fun. They're going to have some legitimate competition, even if they're on the lowest rung of the ladder. And we're going to be able to create stats for them so that they'll be able to participate in the larger esports community. And it's also a way for people to get discovered. If you're awesome and you live in the middle of nowhere and, whatever, if you can be discovered through a gaming league like this, you can work your way up through the ranks and eventually compete for some serious crypto, right? So what we do in the case of a discrepancy, if people can't agree on it, on the outcome of the game, there's going to be a mechanism for that. And this is where our service LiquidEscrow comes in. Basically every transaction that's signed to start a game, every transaction is going to be going to this contract called LiquidEscrow, and it's going to be it's going to be the contract that certifies the transfer of crypto from one party to the other. Basically all the crypto in our game is going to be coming from Onessus going to the winners. We're not going to be facilitating betting at this point, but all the crypto is going to go from us to somebody else, and our escrow service is going to guarantee that if there's consensus amongst the players and the ref, the crypto gets dispersed right away to the winner. No fuss, no muss, right?
So if I want to start a game, I don't think we did that. So we're in Discord. Basically, I'd be in a chat room for like Call of Duty or something, and I would say like, who wants to play? I decide who's on my team, who's on the other team, and then we also decide on a referee.
Yep. And then you send them a link for a private channel. There will be a private, there will be an Onessus channel. And you go into the Onessus channel, and basically all you do is you can copy and paste the name of the channel, the game that you want to play. The way that we had it was you select an emoticon. So like a fork and knife means Call of Duty, or a smiley face means Rocket League or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. So you cut and paste, or it could be something simpler than that, but you put in the name of the league that you want, the game that you want to play in, and then the DAPP will automatically put you into a party base or an arena with any given number of players. So if you want to play 1v1, you can do that, right? But if you want to play 20 versus 20, you can do that. So as soon as you enter this private Discord channel, the Onessus Discord channel, you say that you want to play a game, and then the DAPP will transfer you to a private Discord channel in which the game is going to occur.
Awesome. So whenever there's no disputes, me and you are playing, we have a referee somewhere, I beat you, obviously, and then nobody complains about it. You say I got beat. I say I beat you. I opt you. And then the referee says, yeah, that's what happened. And then the crypto changes hands. No problem. But if I say I beat you and you say I cheated, and then the referee says, I don't know, maybe we should check the replay. That's where LiquidEscrow would kick in, right?
Yeah. So in that case, you're going to know right away if there's a dispute, because one player isn't going to sign off on the contract, right? And they're going to say, no, there's a dispute here. So in that case, everybody you're still in this private channel, you're still in this private Discord channel, and your game client is still up, an alt tab away. You can very easily go back to your game and grab a recording of your last played round, right? Because all these games now have on the fly recording. You're part of the thing. If your game doesn't automatically record it, you're going to be expected to be recording your all of your matches, right? Mm-hmm. So when there's a discrepancy, you're going to be prompted to upload the video of your loss or your win or whatever it is that you just played. So you're going to upload that, and it's going to go to our server. And the way that we built it for the hackathon was it's going to go to a DSP, where it's going to be a separate DAPP network level service package. So these DSPs are going to be taking material from our DAPP in the form of either agreed upon consensus or in the form of disputed and video evidence, right? Mm-hmm. So when the DAPP, when the DSP receives that information, somebody is going to manually go through and look at all the evidence and decide who won. And it's going to be simple. There's no disputing it after that point. But the really cool thing is that the DAPP, the DSP is going to keep a permanent on-chain record of all of these disputes, right? So if you want to go back in time and say, well, I disputed that game, but then I was overruled, you're going to be able to go back and see why you were overruled, why you were incorrect, or why you were trying to cheat, or So the people who lose these disputes, if it's a simple misunderstanding, that might be one thing, and it's something that we can adjudicate. But if you're a scammer, or if you actually are cheating, or you're modding your game or something like that, it's going to be very evident, right? So the DSP is going to give you a flag. It's going to lower your reputation. And then next time you try to join a game in Discord, you're going to have a flag. You're going to have a low reputation score, and people are not going to be inclined to play with you. Or we could just force it so that if you're flagged, you can only play with other flagged players, or you're just banned.
Imagine that league.
It'll be lots of fun.
The cheater league. It's like, my hacks are better than your hacks.
Yeah, and then everyone can agree. Everyone can in the game can agree that hacking is fine, and modding is fine. We're all going to agree, and if you win, you win, right? But that's the way it can go, because what the escrow service is a way to solve contracts, smart contracts that are dependent on real world variables that can't be monitored by an Oracle or on-chain devices or anything, right? So what we're looking at in this sense, real world means Call of Duty or whatever, but real world variable in the sense that it's something that can only be proven by a human, right? So, or in this case, a collection of humans. So it's really cool stuff. But the escrow service is going to guarantee that if you are honest and you play your game properly and you win, you'll be rewarded. If you're dishonest and you try to cheat, you're gonna get a reputation for it, and you'll either be banned or flagged. And so if people want to play these games and they want to get into a league where you can potentially make a whole lot of money, they're not going to want to get flagged. So any frivolous claims or any cheating is just not going to happen.
And it's so you guys basically built the MVP for the hackathon. So everything we just talked about for the last 10 minutes or so, it's still pretty early because it was basically built in a week, and it's been a couple weeks since then, so it might have been fleshed out further. But I think the timing of it couldn't be perfect with the announcement of voice coming for the beta on February 14th. So
totally.
We'll have, whether it's beta or not, I think we'll still have the ID verification that we've been talking about for over a year now. And I think that's the biggest hole I could poke into this model that you just explained is, okay, you flag me as a cheater, I just create a new account and I come back. Or I'm an elite player and I create a new account so I look like a noob and I just dominate. So with a reputation system that you can't shake off because you can't just create a new account, I think that's probably, I think it is on the Onessus roadmap for other stuff. I think I read a blog article several months ago where it mentioned like, hey, we want to use DAPP Network and we want to use voice for a few things. And
well, our game Hodl God, which we're going to be talking about, we were really hoping to have, when voice was announced and the identity layer was announced, it was like, oh my gosh, this is perfect. So we were really hoping to build around that, and it's just taken so long. But we're going to be releasing without the voice identity, but it's something that we can very easily incorporate because it would eliminate so much scamming, right? Any bots trying to play a game. If we're releasing an economic game, you don't want bots playing it. And you want real people playing it, and voice is just going to be great for that. Can't wait.
And you could even have like 2 leagues. Not everyone wants to be doxxed. Some people prefer anonymity, and you could have like 2 separate leagues, like the identified league, where that's probably your higher level tournaments because you can't have cheaters. Then there's like the recreational league where like the rules are a little looser and you might not need the verified ID because not everyone's going to want to do that. And there's a lot of gamers that are under 18. So they shouldn't be gambling anyway, I guess. I'm sure there'd be terms and conditions. They'd probably not be allowed to do this just because of the laws of the land. It's probably wrong.
And at the moment, everybody needs an EOS account also, right? So to try to change your EOS account and your Discord account and all your gaming accounts every time you want to scam somebody, it just gets tiresome, right? And the way that our league is going to work, if say we have, 10,000 games on record, you're going to stick out like a sore thumb if you enter in. And, if you create a new character and you're God in the game, you create a new character and wipe out a bunch of noobs. That's who cares, right? Because the crypto rewards for the lower levels are going to be small compared to the crypto rewards for the higher levels, right? You're going to want to develop a good reputation. You're going to want to keep playing the game and advance in the league, because every time you step up and you get higher reputation players with higher degrees of difficulty, those crypto rewards are going to go up also. So you're not going to want to ever drop out of that league and restart your character or restart your account. You're just going to want to keep going as honestly as you possibly can.
And since LiquidEscrow is a DSP service, is it built in a way that's like general enough that other projects could potentially utilize it in the future?
Oh yeah. It's basically, it's going to analyze any smart contract that if you have if you have any smart contract that's going to be dispersing funds from one place to another, LiquidEscrow is going to analyze. It's going to take the inputs from that contract, and once if there's a consensus on it and all the parties to the contract agree on it, it's just going to certify it, and you're on your way. If there's something else that needs to happen, if there's some other variable that needs to be decided upon manually, somebody on the LiquidEscrow the DSP server itself is going to analyze that stuff manually and then come up with a result. So you could think of any real world scenarios like ride sharing, like Uber, right? Decentralized Uber. Everybody's got phones with GPS now. You could start a smart contract and say, I'm going to pick this guy up here, I'm going to drop him off here. And then at the very end of the ride, both phones have the same GPS address, saying we're here. That's a really good example of proof of location, right? So when you couple that with something like the voice identity layer, you just can't really dispute these things anymore, right? Mm-hmm. The thing is, with the reputation layer, the reputation is going to be so important to LiquidEscrow. It's not just for the gaming; it's for any contract that you enter into. So it can be persisted also across all aspects of your contractual life. If you screw somebody over in Uber or in ride sharing or decentralized ride sharing, your reputation is going to stay with you when you try to go order some food online and get it delivered to you, or when you try to go back and do your online gaming and people see that you're a cheater. If you try to scam on this system, the reputation on LiquidEscrow is going to stay with your account. It's going to be all on the chain, and you're just going to ruin everything.
I love how arbitration was something that was supposed to be on base layer EOSIO from day one. We talked about it. I mean, back in the ECAF days, we've talked about arbitration, and the escrow is essentially like an arbitrating body. Like your money's in escrow, but it's arbitrated by, in your use case, the referee. But a referee could also just be a trusted third party. If you and I wanted to make some sort of transaction of goods or something, we would pick a trusted third party that we both agree we trust to be on this multi-sig, and he would essentially become the arbitrator of whatever our transaction might be.
That's the DSP. Yeah, that's the DAPP Network DSP. And I think more and more apps are going to be living on the DAPP Network. I mean, when we see the resource problems that we have right now in EOS mainnet, more and with the portability between sister chains now that we see that Liquid apps have given us, and I mean, it's built right into the system that there should be portability. And as Dan says, it's really just it's a nerve center of a whole bunch of different chains cooperating together. That's his ideal for EOSIO, right? Once we see this happening, where you might not know what chain you want to live on permanently, the DAPP network suddenly shines through as this place where you can put most of your resources there, most of your concentration there, and then just, just appear on different chains, but you're basically living on the DAPP network, and that's for many of Onessus's products coming up soon. That's the way that we see it is our home will be the DAPP network, and we'll be found on different chains.
Kind of goes back to, at the very beginning of this conversation, I brought up like Discord. The gamers are already on Discord. So if you want to work with gamers, you go where the gamers are. All of these different chains have different user bases. If you want to tap into all of the user bases, you sometimes got to go to all of the chains. And I think that's kind of over the next couple of years what we're going to see. We're not going to see like dApps deploying on just one chain. I mean, we still will, but I think we're going to see a lot of dApps that just live on multiple chains. Like you could use Talos, Wax, EOS. Yeah. It doesn't matter.
Or if there's one job that you need done on one chain, like they were talking about, you want some proof of work done, it's some sort of proof of work verification of something. You just go over and farm it out to Ethereum, and you come back and you use a cheap or free resources on another EOSIO chain to do the rest of your work, right? Mm-hmm. Or this BIOS sister chain. Like they're talking about having nodes in space, right? So that or block producers in space, so that your transactions are occurring somewhere that's completely jurisdiction free, right? So if you can say, I want my transactions to actually occur up in that satellite in space where no government has any control over them, and you can't say that money was transferred, changed hands in China or in the United States or anything like that. You can just say everything I do is going to be on this chain, but I want to use BIOS to do the transaction. Something simple like that. But that's where the DAPP network really shines through. Is just it'll be the nerve center that everything out that can spread out to every other chain, I think.
So we've talked a lot about the hackathon, what you guys built, and what you'll probably integrate into future games. Let's get into Onessus. Who is Onessus? What is Onessus? What do you guys do? Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, well, Onessus was begun, co-founded by Dante and John Scott, the father and son duo. They both have many years experience offering marketing and branding services to new businesses. And Dante, he's a visionary, and he's a developer and a coder, and he's got a lot of skills. And they've been building a lot of stuff, marketing and in digital assets. And recently they've decided to really focus on building dApps on EOS, because particularly they had experienced firsthand what happens when you get scammed on the internet, right? And they both decided to go at it and try to solve this issue of getting scammed digitally and anonymously by whoever it is, So the blockchain really, it jumps out at you as this is the way to do it, but how to do it is the question. So they've been implementing a lot of different ideas, or developing a lot of different ideas. And the first thing that we really have released is our hackathon project. We're going to continue LiquidEscrow. We're going to make it a DAPP level, DAPP network service package, ideally. And at the very least, we're going to be incorporating LiquidEscrow into the LiquidEscrow contract into our global esports community, right? So whether or not we have it on the DAPP network at the very beginning, that escrow contract is going to be used by our service just natively as part of the DAPP. So we have that coming out. We also have.
I love like you're like we had, I think, 10 finalists, and out of all 10 of the finalists, I'd say there's, after talking to all of them, at least 7 of them are like definitely still working on whatever they built for the hackathon, and they're continuing it through production. So I guess I could continue to keep you in that bucket, that we will see this further fleshed out. We will see it in production, even if it's not day one, because I think the beta is coming out in a couple weeks at this point. Yeah.
So this is it's not on the back burner, but it's something that we're working towards solving. Is this the global esports community with LiquidEscrow? But that's probably a couple months out. But we will be hopefully releasing in the next couple of weeks, actually, our new game, Hodl God. Yeah,
that's awesome. So what's like the high level view of like, what is Hodl God? When can we expect? Like, what type of game is it?
Okay, Onessus has been working on this one for a long time now, and we're developing a really unique game for the world of crypto, which is not an old traditional game sort of shoehorned into crypto, into a blockchain. It's a new economic game that from its very core, it's crypto. So it's a fresh take on multiplayer turn-based gaming like Dungeons and Dragons. If you've played the old paper and dice version of it, you know what I'm talking about. But even the old the Dungeons and Dragons computer games, it's turn-based in the sense that everybody has a chance to do what they need to do before somebody else comes and kills them because they have a faster mouse or something, right? So it's a turn-based adventure game. And think about Fortnite, which is a battle royale game. A battle royale game is a genre where you get a whole bunch of people in an arena and they have to kill each other until there's only one left, like Highlander, the movie. So our game is going to put 20 people into an arena together, It'll be like Dungeons and Dragons feel. So it's monsters and magic and swords and axes and stuff like that. Just like Dungeons and Dragons, you're going to start off with a base set of attributes. So your strength and your dexterity and all that kind of stuff, analogs to that. It'll be right from the start. Every player is going to have the same stats, the same equipment. Everything is going to be the same. So this is a battle royale like Fortnite in the sense that you can't bring other, say, an axe from another game or from last week's game or last night's game and bring it into this game and win. Everybody's going to start from scratch. So what this does is it eliminates a fear, for new players, eliminates the fear of participating in it. Everybody starts from the same level, and it happens all the time. So after you're done a round, say a round takes an hour or half an hour or an hour and a half. After you're done a match, rather, you can go back and start another one from scratch, but you don't take anything else that you just discovered in the dungeon. Every time you finish a match, the stuff that you've accumulated, say you've killed off every other 19 players in your arena, the stuff that you've accumulated is gold. So your items or the gold that you find in a chest in a room over here, it all gets added up and you cash out with it. So it gets converted to crypto. We have a new token called Element, which your gold is going to get transferred into, and then you're going to finish the match with amount of Element in your wallet, right? And you're going to be using your EOS account. And what that means is that it's going to create a market for the gold that we're collecting in game. Like every
what kind of stuff could you buy with it? Could you like use custom skins and things like that in the game? Not
right now. The possibilities are endless, really, and we could start to introduce like things like NFTs into it, where you might have a league where you could bring your own battle, or your axe or your armor into it, and do it that way. But for right now, everybody starts with the same stats, the same everything, and it's not just a mobile app, right? It's just the interface is quite simple, it's quite slick, but it's not like you run at somebody and hit them with a sword. It's like it's more like D&D, where your attributes and your damage and your defense go together and you roll your die. So we're using the DAPP Network's Liquid Oracle's random number generator. So all of this is going to be provably random. It's all going to be on the blockchain. Every single little thing that happens in the game is going to be generated from Liquid Oracles, basically. Awesome. So what that does is it creates a little microcosm that you go into it, you play your game, you get out of it, and you harvest some gold out of it when you do it, right? So the only one player is going to win. You're going to collect everything. Say this guy collects 10 gold from this room, and then he gets killed by this guy over here. The 10 gold goes to this guy, right? So you're going to be collecting gold as you go through the arena, through the dungeon. And then at the very end, you're going to face off two players against each other, and one is going to win. And then they win all the gold that everybody else has accumulated through that match, and they win a bonus on top of that. So to start the games, first of all, I keep saying it's 20 players, but our vision is to have absolutely huge arenas. So we're going to have up to 1,000 players playing this at once in one battle royale, and it's going to take a long time. It's a longer time frame. Is like the rounds are going to be longer, and the game itself is going to last longer. So we're looking at more like maybe 20 or 30 days for a match like that, right? But when you think about it this way, our entry fee for a match is going to be roughly equivalent to $1 US, okay, in crypto. So you're going to be able to use either Onessus's Void token, or if you have Element token, you'll be able to use that, or you can use EOS. So say right now it would cost you maybe a third of an EOS to start one round, to start a match rather, right? So you go in, and at the end of that match, 20 players are done. You've killed 19 players, and you're going to get the equivalent of all of that admission fee back. That's going to be your winnings, right? So when you have 1,000 players in this pro league, everybody paying an admission, and you win, you're going to clean up, right? It's going to be really, really, really cool. So at the same time that you can play it individually, but it's going to really encourage people to cooperate economically. So you're gonna.
So even though it's a battle royale, you might make like temporary friends.
Yeah.
And then stab each other in the back and shoot each other.
Frenemies. Yeah.
I've done that in Fortnite.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's just like Survivor. The TV show Survivor. It's like best friends up until the very end, and then you go at it, right? But you can also have
real quick to set expectations here. What we're talking about coming out in the next couple weeks is the beta, right?
Yes.
Like this is just for like initial feedback, user testing. I'll probably try to get a game going with the Everything EOS audience. I will kill everybody in this turn-based game. Sure but it is beta. So I guess set the expectations there. This game will get better over time, and this is kind of just it's been worked on for almost a year now, I think, from what I understand.
Yeah, so it's going to get better as more things come online. Like you think about the voice verification, right? The voice identity layer. When that's available, it'll become part of this game. It'll eliminate so much hassle, right? When you can guarantee that there are no bots playing your game, right?
Mm-hmm. So Chuck, you sound like a gamer. You keep bringing up D&D. You sound like Peter Keay here and my buddy Evan Schindler. They're always trying to get me to play D&D. I've yet to play my first game, but I used to, like when I was younger, like you hear it and it's like got this like stereotype, like it's this nerdy thing. But as time went on, being nerdy became like super cool. So what's your background with gaming and tech? Like how'd you kind of get into all of this?
Well, I guess you could probably say I got into blockchain when I was a kid, even though it wasn't around yet, because I was a bit of a nerd, in grade school, we'd play Dungeons and Dragons. In high school, I got my first computer. It was just a 386 with, I think, 32 megabytes of RAM. Sorry,
that was hard drive, man.
32 megabytes of hard drive.
I remember I had a 486. My first was a 486, my first personal one, and it had 64.
I remember I bought King's Quest. It was one of my first games I think it was the first game I ever bought. And when a game comes in a box that's this big and it had 11 big floppy disks, right?
The hard flop, the 3.5-inch hard floppies are like the soft.
No, the big floppies, the five and a quarter or whatever they are. Yeah, and each one only has like a megabyte on it, so I had to install them all. Anyway, I grew up on those Quest games, on Dungeons and Dragons. I went through SimCity addiction. Bad.
Same. I think mine was SimCity 2000, man. I remember I played the original SimCity. I think that was still floppy disk, maybe a CD, but 2000 was my jam. I spent many hours of my childhood, way too many.
I can justify it all. I just say that, the line of work I'm in now, it justifies all the time that I've spent, or rather wasted, gaming. Now it's not time wasted. Now it's time spent. So back then you get on BBSs, right? You dial up to a bulletin board system with your modem. Had a 2400 baud modem, which allows you to download like a picture in half an hour, right? And it was crazy. But you had all these text-based online games. They're online in the sense that they're on this bulletin board system in your friend's computer over at his house, right? And he has another phone line because his parents.
Well, it must be rich, man.
Line, right? He's got two phone lines
back then.
Yeah, so
I guess you had to at one point after the internet started taking off, more everyone kind of got two phones. Most people.
Yeah.
But at first, no one did because people weren't addicted to the internet until
I remember
there was a reason to be addicted to the internet.
Yeah, you're trying to download something, and then your sister picks up the telephone and destroys the whole modem conversation, right?
Hang up the phone.
Yeah.
What
So
was
anyway,
it? Was it 28.8? I forget what the next one was. 33 something, or was it 56K?
No, I started off actually with a 300 baud modem, which was given to me by a teacher, and he just said we can't use this crap anymore. Here you have it, right? And then my mom bought me a 2400, and then I got a 9600, and then a 19.2 because they refused to buy me a 14.4, so I got a 19.2 really late. And then when I had a 19.2, everybody was on 56K or 28.8 rather. And then anyway, yeah. So
those were the golden days, man. Like by the time we got to 56K, it was like the late 90s, and like it still took like an hour to download like a 3 megabyte like MP3 on Napster.
Yeah. You had to pick and choose what you're going to download, right? So I downloaded I remember getting all the freaking books, right? Building the blue boxes and the black boxes.
Freaking with a PH, right?
With a PH, exactly.
A little hacker.
Yeah. So I knew how to build a blue box. I just never actually built a blue box. Yeah, and then the Anarchist Cook. We won't talk about all those other books. Yeah, so I'm on all sorts of blacklists, I'm sure, from my early days. But it was completely innocent because it was just you're talking to this new network, and everything is great. That's why I see that time period to be very similar to this time period, because we're just starting to talk to this new technology, right? Mm-hmm. And when you see that. Basically, we're at the beginning of a new computer system here. When you look at EOSIO, right, and the possibilities are just endless, right? So this was, back then, getting involved in all those games. I made a conscious decision after many wasted hours that I was just going to stop gaming altogether and stop wasting my time on multiplayer gaming anyway. And
girlfriend at the time.
Yeah, that helped. Yeah.
That's usually the catalyst for stuff like that. You got to grow up sometime, or at least pretend to.
Yeah, and so grew up, got married, got a career, started a family, and in 2008, I really came across, just stumbled across Ron Paul in the election, the 2008 election down there, and I'm Canadian, and American politics always just mystified me. I had no idea what was going on. You guys are always having election for something, right? And I had no idea what primaries were. I didn't know anything about it. But watching his campaign, or his revolution rather, I really started to appreciate the Constitution and the need to be engaged, right? And I think we can see that in the way that Dan Larimer has designed his DPoS systems. You have to be in a state of constant voter engagement, right? And this whole thing really does work if people vote.
But it's interesting. So you're a Canadian libertarian.
Well, that's a good definition. Yeah, that's fine with me. You can call me that. And right around that time, I started to really understand about money and about fiat money, right? The importance of hard currency. Ron Paul is so on top of that, and I know a whole lot of people in crypto owe him a debt of education. He's my political hero, even though I can never vote for him. Right around that time, I really dove into the whole gold and silver space. It was at a great time. I took out a loan to buy silver in the spring of 2008. And then the big crash happened, and I got wiped out by 50%. Right?
Oh, it's just preparing you for crypto, man.
I got wrecked, but it came right back. It came right back about a year later. I was fine. I'm not a trader. I try to buy and hold. I try to go on fundamentals. Really, I'm not really interested in trading short term. I've tried it and I've failed miserably at it a couple times, so I don't do that anymore. So I heard about this new crypto stuff coming. I think the first time I heard about Bitcoin was on Slashdot.org, like high tech news that I was reading that for like 8 years before that. And I just ignored it like everybody else did.
It's either you think it's a nothing burger or it's a scam. That's
so,
everyone's first impression.
Yeah, it was a good idea, but it's cool. But it's it's just this little protocol that nobody's actually going to use. So it was just a proof of concept, really. And that's all it was back then, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then I think 2011, I watched. I'd been watching Bitcoin go up and up, and then I watched it crash from $30 down to like a penny or 2 pennies or whatever it was.
Thank God you avoided that one.
Yeah, I watched that all in real time. Thank God I didn't buy then when I could have. And literally I had a chunk of silver stocks that I was ready to sell to buy Bitcoin at $1, right? And I was like, oh, whatever.
It's funny that I say like, thank God you didn't buy it, because you would have had to have felt the $30 drop to like $1. But at the same time, like imagine how happy you'd be today with that $30. It's just
exactly
knowing emotions. Like at the time it would have been devastating, but in long term, like obviously hindsight's 2020.
Yeah, but there are plenty of things that you can regret. You can regret doing stupid things when you were a teenager. You can regret all sorts of things. I regret
not
having
selling the top in 2017, 18. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, I regret just letting my dog in.
All right, so it's like 2011. You had your second dip into Bitcoin, but you once again didn't pull the trigger.
Oh yeah, and I was watching all the big guys. I was following like Trace Mayer all the time. He was talking about gold and the importance of real money and hard money, and he jumped right in on Bitcoin early. I was watching Max Kaiser all the time. He was right in on it early. He was he was screaming at people to buy at $1.
I mean, that's kind of like the grassroots of the entire crypto community. So like if you trace back the history of like most of the OGs in crypto, they were either like hardcore libertarians or like from the gaming industry, like World of Warcraft Gold, like Brock Pierce and people like that. Like those are the two trees people came from. Some people came from both trees. Yeah. So that's why.
So I just kept watching it. I'm a political, avid political animal, I guess you could say. I watch a lot of things around the world all the time. And I kept watching the Bitcoin price, it would go up and it would go down, but it would always coincide with a big international crisis, right? When Greece collapsed and Bitcoin went to the moon, or when Cyprus, I guess, or as soon as somebody talks about outlawing something, China talks about outlawing, bang, it goes up. And you could see all these things happening and you're like, wow, there's just something going on here. I don't know, but I mean, I'm not going to buy in because
in those circles like preps you for it. They're all like hard money, like the economy is going to collapse, and like you believe it. And I follow these guys like Peter Schiff and all those guys. Like I feel that way whenever I listen to them too, and they already like build you up. You're like, oh no, the monetary system's going to crash. Yeah, and now there's Bitcoin. It's like, oh.
Yeah. So anyway, I kept watching it go up and up and up, and then I guess it was in 2017. I just saw that there was a place where you could blog and make money in crypto, and it was Steemit, right? And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. So I signed up to Steemit and I started blogging, and I started putting a lot of effort into it. Got some nice shiny blog posts out there, and I made a good deal of money, right?
Steem was one of the top websites in the world at that time. People, I love, these are like my favorite projects, are the ones where you can go into it. So like you talked about back in 2011, like you didn't pull the trigger on crypto, and it's probably good because you would have lost it all in Mt. Gox anyway. Yeah. But like what I love is the projects where you could actually create value without purchasing anything. You create value with your time and whatever your skill set is. And in this case, it was writing. And then like I like projects like Effect AI, where like they're doing these micro tasks to earn income in these like third world countries where like there's not a lot of economic opportunity. So like that's awesome that's how you got your is this the first time you got crypto? Was not even
that was it.
Buying, you didn't even buy it from Coinbase or anywhere. You earned your very first crypto by writing a blog article. That's amazing.
Yeah. And a lot, like I didn't actually buy any until Steemit brought me into BitShares. So I was taking my Steemit earnings and converting it to BitShares, and I started trading at BitShares, and I'm like, wow, this is really cool. And then I started actually investing in BitShares as the run up was going through late 2017, right? And of course I got over.
Where's EOS at in the mix? Like I skipped BitShares for the most part. Like I knew about it, but like June 2017, like EOS was a big thing. Like I think I got into EOS October, so I didn't get into
Yeah, it was just
months.
starting. And actually, I was working away from home. I was living in a hotel for about a year, and I didn't really get into EOS. I just took a big break from Steemit. Even like I had so much success in Steemit, and then I just sort of dropped it. You know.
Yeah, you didn't have to sit next to Rob Finch at a previous job, and he basically he was in it since day one. And man, like when I started working with him back in October 2017. Like I had already like been super like into crypto and stuff, and like other people had mentioned Dan Larimer and EOS, and I brushed him off. But then I met Rob, and I was like, all right,
you can't avoid it anymore.
This is it. I just stopped paying attention to any other project since then.
Yeah. So I invested in BitShares, had a great time in BitShares, really loved the system. And then I really dug into the back end of it, learning about, the witnesses and block producers. Right. And really started understanding that aspect of it and the whole voting thing. And then, this spring, really, I dropped it for a little bit. And then this spring I really got involved in EOS, and I started I opened up my first account. I've, opened up several accounts because I thought that name squatting might be a lucrative thing.
Even if you didn't think name squatting was going to be, I have like probably at least 100 accounts, man. I use like 8 of them maybe. But like anytime I thought of a cool, like before Rob had EOS name service, like I'd think of a cool 12-letter name, and EOS Links made it so easy, like pay $1 in the app store, get your account. I'm like, all right, this is a cool name. This is a cool name. Yeah, I did the same thing.
So I just started trying to learn as much as I could about EOS. I went through and I started, reviewing for my own purposes anyway, reviewing all these different apps, and some are, really, really basic, and some are really lame, and some are really, really polished, right? Some are great. When you really think about it, the income streams possible from some of these casino apps are just if once it takes off, like you look at some of the money going through these things in China, it's just unbelievable how much money can be made on having residuals from those things. So anyway, that's
I think the biggest thing holding back these token economies is regulation. I mean, the dice and like earn bet model that we saw in late 2018, whenever we saw the run-ups and the high dividends, that was an amazing business model. It's revenue sharing in a trustless manner where everyone sees how everyone's getting paid and why they're getting paid this much, and it's sharing revenue. So that's like the biggest issue with it is like we're in this like gray area, and that's holding back a lot of like super legitimate projects from being able to use those token economies because they've obviously don't want to fall afoul of the law. I know some of the casinos operate in different countries where they kind of have some legal representation, but it's still a very gray area. But I'm still really bullish on like the long-term casino space and blockchain as a whole. I think we're going to see the big boys come in eventually. I don't know when that'll be, but
and that's something that Onessus is really, now that I'm with Onessus, it's really clicking that the economics, the economics of mass adoption is just going to send everything just crazy, right? When we see with our gaming app GEEC, when we see that league really take off, and we see maybe hundreds of players at first, but tens of players, hundreds of players, thousands of players, but we're going to be able to support thousands and thousands of players, right? And once that starts to roll, it'll just keep going. I don't know, the possibilities are so massive.
Is there a plan in place to allow like freemium play? So like we talked about, like I would kind of like bet against you, and then we have a ref, and then we play, and then one of you guys win. Is there a model where there could be like a battle royale where there's just like a prize that the winner gets, but it like came from Onessus or from a third party, and they just put a prize pool up?
Well, with Hodl God, we're going to have a free league. So we're going to have the basic free league. It'll be free to play. So it'll be free to play, and then the winner of that battle royale will get a prize. So you could, if you keep winning, you could conceivably play for free all the time.
Hear that, gamers? So it's turn-based, and in the beta, how long would it, like, you mentioned games that take a month, But speaking specifically for the beta that we could expect in the next couple weeks here.
Yeah,
like
it'll be 20 players. So just to be fair to everybody, a round, if a round will take, I think it's going to be capped at 20 minutes per round. So that's so that everybody gets to do their action for that round, right? But if everybody is engaged and, nobody just lost their cell signal or any, all these different things that could happen. But if everybody's engaged on it and it's going quickly, really a round could go in a minute. It could go super fast. Right?
So it's like the difference, something in like a turn-based game, the one I'm most familiar with is chess. So like sometimes I'll have chess games that go like weeks because I'll make a move or a couple moves every day. But then like there's like other versions of chess where like I stare at the screen the whole time until one of us wins. Like, and it's like a 30-minute game or whatever.
Exactly. And it depends on the engagement of the parties. And it depends on the system enforcing a speed, right? Sometimes you have to play speed chess when, you have 5 minutes to finish a match, right? Or sometimes there's no time limit, right? So with our system, we're going to be able to tweak all that. So if you do want to have a speed arena where round times are capped at say 3 minutes or 5 minutes or 1 minute, that's all entirely possible. But for the beta, we're going to have 20 players in an arena, and it'll be free to start, or you'll be able to pay the equivalent of $1 approximately to get in, and then at the very end, the winner will get rewards. And there's going to be so many cool things in it too. This is another thing. Easter eggs and hidden little knowledge is going to be a huge aspect of this game. We're not going to be printing a manual. We're not going to be holding anybody's hand. It's going to be, you're going to play it and you're going to discover the game as you play it. So you're going to walk into a room and there's a chest on the ground. You open the chest. Yes. And that there's a bag of gold, or there's a particular little item in there that's, and then at the end of the match, you can either, you don't have to get out of the match by winning or by losing. You can get out of the match by escaping. So if you want to escape with all of your gold and items that you've accumulated in the round, in the match rather, you can do that and cash them in. So you don't have to. There isn't only one winner. You can be a winner if you're in third place, but you have this amazing item that you just found, and you just want to escape.
Sounds like let's make a deal. It's like, do you want to open up another briefcase and take your chances, or do you want to walk home with the little bit of
that's it exactly. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, double or nothing. You can choose to battle it out, but if you lose, then you lose. Yeah.
All right, Chuck, we're coming up on about 1 hour. I know we had some other stuff we wanted to talk about. Is there anything that we missed in this conversation? I hope people enjoyed it.
Well, I don't think so. We covered a lot. As far as Onessus goes, we just really want people to know about us, that we're interested in creating an economic system that's fair, that's going to eliminate fraud, and it's going to really facilitate peer-to-peer action. And our hackathon project went so well. Everybody's so engaged. We've had so much positive feedback about our hackathon project.
Dude, you had positive feedback from Brock Pierce, like a gaming OG. Yeah, like he ran the largest gold farm in the world for years. For years.
We were pretty stoked about that.
Yeah, like you couldn't find a better judge to give you positive feedback. And it's like you were competing against some really good projects and really good teams. And after all of the pitches, the judges, they were on a call for about a half hour. I wasn't on it because I was running the live stream, for a half hour debating everything because the scores were very, very close. And after debate amongst all of these legendary judges, you guys were the champions of the world. The DAPP Network Hackathon. So I know you said it at the beginning. Let's remind everyone again where they could find you, Chuck, and Onessus as a project, and the latest on LiquidEscrow.
Yeah. Well, I'm
and Hodl God. My bad.
Yeah. Personally, I'm Chuck MacDonald. I'm on Twitter at ignore Ron Paul. Don't ignore Ron Paul. I'm just joking about that. Onessus can be found on Telegram, t.me/Onessus. That's ONESSUS, and also on Twitter @Onessus Block.
And all of these links will be in the description down below, but I haven't done the description yet because we're just recording the interview now. I can't wait for this to come out, Chuck. I'm sure I'll be well aware whenever it's like a couple days out, a couple weeks from release. I think we got to get a game going with the Everything EOS community. We'll get a 20-person game. We'll get you in on it. We'll get Peter Keay in on it. We'll get some of the DAPP Network guys on it, or Liquid Apps guys on it, and we'll let everyone know. I don't know about let them know. I'll kick all your asses, and I'll just let everyone know how I won. I guess that's how we'll recap it for the audience.
In your dreams.
You're on, man. I'll see you. I'll see you next time, man.
Yeah. Thanks so much.
Wait,
for the call.
Actually, I take that back, man. We have a specific. I messed up the close. We have a very specific way that we close out every single episode of Everything EOS.
Let me see if I can remember it.
This always throws people off because I don't give warnings of this ahead of time. Like we had a little chat before we started, but all right, you gotta say like until next time. I'm Chuck MacDonald.
Until next time, I'm Chuck MacDonald from Onessus,
and I'm Zack Gall from Liquid Apps, Everything EOS, Vigor DAC, all the other cool stuff I'm involved with, and this
is Everything EOS. Go EOS!
Oh man. See you next time. Smash the thumbs up, smash the subscribe. We'll see you next